Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be discussing boxing today, week in review and week in preview. Looking forward to the fights this weekend of Nery against Inoue and Canelo against Munguia. I've already given a prediction for Canelo and Munguia, in which I think Canelo wins a points decision, but we'll look into it a little bit further and also talk about my prediction and thoughts on Nery against Inoue. So yeah, Canelo Munguia, looking forward to it. An all Mexican fight. Canelo doesn't generally tend to do all Mexican fights on Cinco de Mayo, so it's going to be a big fight. Again, hasn't been too much promotion about it, considering it's coming up this weekend. But it's going to be a fantastic fight. Canelo with a point to prove, I guess. I mean, you're looking at his last three: Triple G, unanimous decision. He fought Charlo in his last fight, and then before that, I believe it was John Ryder. So you know, he's looked okay, and he's won all those fights pretty convincingly. I think he dropped Charlo. You know, Ryder was hung in there very tough against him, and you know the Golovkin fight was what it was. We know Golovkin was past it at that time. But does Canelo still have that spite? Does he still have that hunger? Does he still really want to hurt people? Because I know for a fact Jaime Munguia does. You know, Munguia proved that in his last one against John Ryder, which probably, let's be fair, set this fight up to happen. So yeah, I mean, I do believe Canelo's going to win on points. I think Munguia's got a good chin. I think he's tough. I think it's, you know, slightly too early for him. Not necessarily, you know, he's probably in his prime and he's grown into it, but I say slightly too early for Munguia in the sense, and more to do with Canelo rather than himself. I think Canelo still has enough left in the tank to win this fight. You know, not at ease, but maybe I think Munguia will have moments, maybe a kind of, you know, 8-4 might be being a little bit generous, but a 9-3 kind of fight. I don't know. I would like to see Canelo go in there engage. I think he has more power than Munguia, even though Munguia, you know, stopped Ryder and he didn't. You know, I think Canelo needs to go out and make a statement. I think a lot of people have been giving him, you know, who knows, rightfully so, rightfully not, but he's been getting a lot of stick about the Benavidez situation. Obviously, Benavidez moved up to 175 now to fight Gvozdyk, but, you know, he needs to come out on May the 4th with a chip on his shoulder. He needs to come out and prove a point. He needs to come out and show everybody that he is still the man. Because Munguia, if Canelo's not, Munguia is that guy. He's all about it. You know, he will put pressure on Canelo. If Canelo isn't the Canelo that he was, you know, a couple of years ago, whatever it may be, Munguia will find that out. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it greatly. I think Canelo does win it, but Jaime Munguia is going to have his moments here. So yeah, looking forward to that one greatly. Looking forward to this one just as much. Nery versus Inoue. I believe that would be on Sunday coming up this week, so no clashes, which is great in Japan. Inoue has just looked absolutely incredible. You know, for me, him and Terence Crawford, pound for pound, those two are the 1 and 2 right now in boxing. Absolutely unbelievable, this fighter. Every time he fights, you know, the Stephen Fulton performance for me was incredible. You know, the way he broke him down and, you know, broke his heart, broke his will. But, you know, he did that against Tapales too in his last fight. You know, he kind of just does that. You know, these guys seem to, you know, have their moments against the Inoue, but then like he's just, his chin's incredible. You know, he does not stop moving forward, and he will just break you down until you do not have anything left anymore. You know, he is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight because, you know, I was talking about Canelo a minute ago with his spite still there. You know, this guy wants to hurt people. He is incredible. The power, the precision, the way he sets things up. The feints, you know, he's always in control. The only thing that could potentially beat Inoue ever in my thoughts really is weight. You know, how many weights does he keep moving up? I think he said he's going to stay at super bantamweight for a while now. You know, obviously have been undisputed at bantamweight after he beat Paul Butler. Yeah, if I were him, I would, because he's probably still fighting above his natural weight at the moment too. But does he go to 126 at some point? Who would he be? Be fighting some absolute monsters at 126. But then again, if his power can carry up, Pacquiao-esque, who knows? But I think 122 is probably the right weight for him to be fighting at currently. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Lewis Nery's probably got a point to prove. He's only lost, I believe, to Brandon Figueroa by stoppage. Who then went on to lose to Fulton on points. So there is a few common denominator opponents or whatever it is. Nery's been marred with controversy for a lot of his career. Around weight and whatever it may be. So he's got a few enemies in the boxing space, shall we say. However, this is going to be a big ask for him to do against Inoue here. A lot of people in the boxing space, I don't see anybody giving Nery much of a hope here. So for me, Inoue will stop Lewis Nery in 6 rounds. I love picking an underdog and I love doing it. I picked Ryan Garcia last week. I would not pick Lewis Nery to beat Naoya Inoue in this fight. Not a hope, in my opinion. But then again, I could be wrong. But yeah, for me, Inoue within 6 rounds. I don't expect Nery to have too many moments, to be honest. But hey ho, been wrong before. But yeah, really looking forward to that one. Absolutely love watching Inoue fight. He is a special talent. Just moving on to some news. It's been a bit this week. Obviously, the biggest news of the week was Terence Crawford's back in action on the Riyadh season card in LA in August. Headline against Israel Madrimov, which is a fantastic fight. Madrimov, for me, probably the best 154 pounder in the world at the minute. Crawford's going right in at the deep end. It's not commercially a massive fight. Madrimov's not a huge name, but Terence Crawford just wants to get in and go for it. Reason, in my opinion, is when I found out that Madrimov was the chief sparring partner for Dmitry Bivol for the Canelo fight, it does make sense now that if Madrimov's style can mirror Canelo slightly, it's a good path for Crawford to navigate from Madrimov potentially to Canelo after that. But what weight? Canelo's not going to be anywhere near 154, 160, so Crawford's going to have to go to 168 if he wants to fight Canelo, in my opinion. Which again is the deck's going to be stacked against him there. So Tim Tszyu against Virgil Ortiz on that card as well. Absolutely fantastic fight. The conversations I've been having with people in the comments and that kind of thing. Everybody is buzzing for Tim Tszyu against Virgil Ortiz. For me, that's probably the best, most competitive fight on the card outside of the main event. You've got Ruiz against Jarrell Miller, also making an appearance on that card. So it is stacked from top to bottom. Pitbull Valenzuela, it is a very, very good card. The Saudis don't put on bad cards, do they? Let's be honest. So very much looking forward to that one. Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn have been going back and forth again. I watched a sit down with them on DAZN not so long ago. It looked very amicable. They're talking about potential Golden Boy versus Matchroom 5v5. Doesn't look like that's going to materialize now. Oscar De La Hoya has been in the comments everywhere, attacking Eddie Hearn, saying get out of America. Hearn's biting back at De La Hoya, saying I've got 18 world champions, you've got 4. This is off the back of obviously Haney versus Garcia. Very interesting dynamic there. Seems to a lot of the bad blood does come from De La Hoya. I don't know if Eddie Hearn's just got the ability to be able to wind him and other people up, or whatever it may be. But yeah, it seems to be a bit of a strange dynamic between Hearn and De La Hoya right now. There was rumours, I believe Liam Smith may be a free agent. I believe he's talking with Matchroom potentially and Frank Warren, or maybe even re-signing with Box or whatever it is. But there was talk of Liam Smith versus Conor Benn. I'm not a huge fan of that fight, to be honest. I think for Smith, well, I guess for him, the Eubank and Ben fights are the money fights, and I guess that's what he's after at this point in his career. You know, he's being world champion. You know, for me, you have to do Eubank Ben before you do Smith Ben, or whatever it may be. You know, Eubank Ben's the big fight. You know, huge promotion. You know, the bad blood. You know that's there, but Conor Ben can't fight in the UK, so you know, where do you do that until that's resolved? You know, that's where the market is for that fight. That their potential stadium fights in the UK in the summer. But for me, you're fumbling the bag if you're doing Liam Smith versus Conor Ben when Chris Eubank Jr. is probably right there. He's now free agent. He's left Wasserman. I believe there's a few issues there, but now they've reached a settlement, so he's now free agent. You know, Eubank's 35. He's got a couple of years left, probably in his career tops. You know, he hasn't been a world champion yet. He's just won the IBO belt. So, you know, where does he go from here? So for me, yeah, not Smith Ben. It has to be Ben Eubank, and then maybe you can look at Smith Eubank 3 or Ben Smith after Eubank and Ben fight. But again, that fight's been talked about and done and off and on for years. So let's see what happens with that one. Yeah, another thing I want to talk about is the lack of promotion for Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, considering it's less than 3 weeks away now. I know they did a press conference for Fury not long ago, but you know, I compare it really to Ryan Garcia and Haney. They ate every last bit of promotion out of that fight. They did, you know, multiple press conferences, and you know, I know one's Ukrainian, one's based in the UK, but you know, this fight is the biggest fight in boxing since Manny Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather for me. You know, I know they're probably not too bothered about pay-per-view numbers and whatever it may be because they got the Saudi investment, and maybe they'll ramp it up on fight week. You know, maybe I'm being, you know, immune to it. I don't know, but for me, you know, it's going very much under the radar, and it was on February the 18th too, when it was initially meant to happen. But I don't know, maybe both men are just locked away and don't want to do media. That, you know, they both just want to be on it because it is a fight for the boxing purists. So yeah, I don't know. Just feel like there's a bit of a lack of promotion for Fury Usyk. But let me know what you think about that. Anthony Joshua did an interview with Talksport in the UK, seemingly confirming his next opponent for Wembley on the Saudi-backed show on September the 20th or the 21st. He said it's probably either going to be Hrgovic Dubois winner or Wilder versus Zhang winner. Now, I'll give my thoughts quickly on that. For me, if Daniel Dubois knocks out or beats Filip Hrgovic, whatever it may be, and that fight happens for the IBF belt, I think that's the route Joshua will go. If Deontay Wilder knocks out Zhilei Zhang and Hrgovic beats Dubois, I think they'll go to the Wilder fight. So you can probably see where I'm going with this. I think based on commercial revenue and you know where the fights are, I think there's risk versus reward that AJ and his team will probably weigh up in this situation. You know, if Zhang absolutely lays out Deontay Wilder, then you know I don't think that fight makes that much sense for AJ and his team, especially if you can win an IBF belt versus Hrgovic or Dubois. I think if Dubois wins, then AJ will really fancy that fight, and then he can be 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. So I think that fight then will materialise. But if Hrgovic wins and Wilder wins, I think that's where it'll be interesting to see where does AJ go, because the Wilder fight's going to be huge fight commercially. Hrgovic not as big commercially, but it'll be for the IBF heavyweight championship of the world, and Joshua will get his chance to be a 3-time champion. So yeah, for me, if Zhang wins, and he'll take either of the Hrgovic or Dubois fight. If Dubois wins, I believe, and Wilder wins, I think it'll be close to see which one he takes. But if Deontay Wilder wins and Hrgovic wins, I believe he'll take the Wilder fight. I think it's too big money a fight to turn down at that stage. But yeah, that should round it up for now. Thanks very much. I'm getting lots of interaction, lots of comments. Please subscribe to the channel, guys. You know, in future I'm going to look at lining up to get guests on. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, how long for, or whatever it may be. I just want to keep the channel growing. I want to talk to people. I want to interact with people. Boxing is a passion of mine. I'm doing this because, you know, I get great joy out of interacting with other boxing fans. So yeah, please drop the video a like, please subscribe, please let me know if there's any topics you want me to discuss. I'm always trying to keep up with things, and yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. Cheers.